Through this short video, and a very informal video, I'm going to walk through the new Eastlake Little League registration system, which is powered by Korrio. Korrio is an advanced registration system, and actually it's going to help the Eastlake Little League manage the entire season online through notifications, building schedules, teams, that type of thing, which is why we switched to this new system. Anyway, we're here at the home page, and before you start registering, you might have questions. And that's what the checklist you see in the middle of the page is for. If you click that, you'll go to the registration checklist, which will go through some things to help you answer questions ahead of time before you start the registration process. And then down here, the registration help tile. This takes you to a page which is basically a written version of what we're going to go through here on this video. So to get things started, let's click the Register Now button here at the top. And at this point, the system wants to know if you already have a Korrio account. You may or may not already have one. If you had a child in the Lake Washington Youth Soccer Association, you may already have a Korrio account. But let's click Create your account just to see. And what happens is I'll put in my email address, and Korrio is going to look to see if I already have a Korrio account. Now, if Korrio recognized my email address, there would be a message here telling me that they're sending the password to that email address right now. So I could check my email, get that email or the password, and then log in with my email address and password, and then continue the registration process. Since I don't have an account already, I'll click Start, and I'll start the process of setting out my personal account, the adult account. I'll be setting up my child's account in just a minute. So I just type in my name, relationship to the child, the birth date. This is mainly to determine whether this is an adult account or not. So don't be scared about entering your real birth date or a date that's not. The key is it needs to be an adult account because you have different privileges than a child account. And if you're registering your kid for T-ball, it might not make sense to set up a child account, but this account will actually follow your kid for years, whether he or she is in the Eastlake Little League or Lake Washington Youth Soccer Association or the local lacrosse league. Many leagues are moving over to Korrio since it's such an advanced system. And what's great is all the information will be collected there, and you and your child can actually see their whole history all within Korrio. The phone numbers here are important from the standpoint of messages that might happen throughout the season. So you might want to fill those out. These are just bogus numbers I'm putting in, so don't call them. Okay, so I have put in a home phone number, a mobile phone number, and a password. I'll click Start. At this point, now I have an account. You can see that's for Sam, age 40. If I select that during the registration process, I'll be presented with any programs that I, as an adult, am available to register for. That might be our booster program for the Eastlake Little League, or if I want to become a manager, it'll give me the application to do that. Since I'm going to keep it simple, I'm not going to select myself, but I am going to add one child and register that child for one of the programs. So I will fill out the child's information, and let's see, I'm going to select, what year will that be? I'm going to go 2004, April 7th. It is a boy, and that'll make this child 9 years old, which will allow him to play AAA baseball. As you can see right here, it says child's email address. By default, it just fills in mine. If your child has an email address, or maybe they're older, maybe they're 11, 12, and they actually use email, it might be useful for them to get the messages that the system has. That'll be practice updates, games, rainouts, those type of things. That information can go to your child if your child is using email. Same thing if they're using a mobile phone. If you put their mobile phone in here, any system messages, and the system messages could be messages sent out by the fields director. If there's a rainout on a field, he or she will send out a message to anybody playing a game on that field or umpiring that field. So your child could get a message. You will get a message. If you have a grandparent account linked to your child's account, that grandparent would get a message, and everybody would know that there's a rainout. You do have to put in a password for your child. It can be whatever you want. It really doesn't matter. I guess it only matters if your child is going to use the account. But it's in there, not for today necessarily, especially if we're talking about a T-baller, but maybe in the future your child would want that information already filled out. But of course the profile can be updated at a later time. I'm going to skip the medical information. So at this point, it's going to present me with everything that my son Tim is available to register for. And as you can see, there's a preseason camp for ages 9 to 10. There's a booster donation program and the actual registration for Little League, which is what I'm interested in specifically. And because my son was 9 before April 30th of this upcoming year, he does qualify for AAA. So I'll select that and I'll click Next. And now we're going to go in and answer questions. What level last year? Of course, he was a AA player and he was a Dodger. And this is not applicable if your child played, say, AAA last year and you didn't think his or her skill level was ready for Coast. You could choose Hold AAA or Hold Coast if that was appropriate. And then if you would like to volunteer for any part of the team, let us know what it is here, because the manager of the team would like to know that type of information. And by the way, throughout the process, you see these little eyes. If you hover over them, that'll give you a little more detail about the field. So let's see, I'm going to write none on this. Employer. And the reason we want employer is matching funds is actually a very significant portion of the Eastlake Little League budget every year. Most of that money does come from Microsoft. So if you volunteer and work for Microsoft, please turn in the hours. I think it's $16 an hour you get paid for every hour volunteered. Or you don't get paid, but the Eastlake Little League will be paid for that. So if your company does do matching funds, this is really the purpose of these fields. So we know that and we can contact you and remind you to do that. So here's the point where it says, I would like to associate additional adults with my children's accounts. You select that and we do the drop down. We can add as many up to 4. And that might be a spouse, that might be a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, somebody who wants to go to your child's game, somebody who might be responsible for caring for your child. That might be a nanny. And the reason that these adult accounts are important is they will get the same messages, whether that be a voice message, a text message, or an email message with information about your child's team and what's happening. So that's the key power of Korrio. The child's count is actually the main account and adult counts are linked. It's kind of the opposite of how we've traditionally done it, where you just have a parent account and they have the child. Understand that the key is the child account for this whole system to work correctly. So now we've hit next because we're not setting up additional accounts. We need to agree to all these waivers. It's simply just click them on and hit agree. Of course, you are reading everything before you agree to it. Now we'll hit next because we've agreed to everything. Now's our option for how to pay. 99% of you will choose credit card. Those will need to choose financial aid are those who have a bill that's over $400, because we do have a family cap. And if you do, you'll want to choose financial aid and follow the instructions for family cap. If you qualify for financial aid or would like to request information about financial aid, you may also choose financial aid, and you will not have to pay with a credit card as part of the checkout process. And that really does conclude the entire registration process. Your accounts are not actually created until you pay or complete the financial aid request and hit next. Then your account is paid, or not paid, but it is created, and you'll be able to log in and manage it from there. If you should now just go down and click the Eastlake Little League logo at the bottom and go back to our home page, all the work you've just done is actually not saved and it's missing. A quick walkthrough, if you're interested in anything else, these main squares on the home page are going to kind of take you to probably the most important information. If you click the see more right here, you'll see on the left hand side it drops down and shows you kind of other information, and this list will grow over time. This is just what we've done to start out. So if you have information about our FAQs, you obviously click FAQs. You can click again about ELL here on the left and learn about our baseball programs. It gives you all the details that you might want to know and whatnot. Clicking the logo takes you back home. And with that, that is going to complete this video. Thanks for watching, and I hope your child has a great season.